I'm very grateful to Ashley at CDI because he's been helping us to prepare the background. It's really strange going in backstage. It's like before a performance, isn't it? And it's really nice to just go backstage and be welcomed in technically. And Ashley's already helped me, so I hope this session will go really well and smoothly. We're going to go through quite a few slides, but I'm going to try and personalize it more and make it more interesting. They're very visual. But it's to tell a story, really. It's to tell a story of what's really been happening in our world of virtual careers in this last year. And it really is. There was some signs of it before lockdown beginning to happen, and then things have really taken off. So I come to this very humbly because I sort of feel that a lot of this has come out of a lot of challenges and difficulties that people have been working with. So I hope, like me, you will be able to be encouraged that some amazing things are going on. It's very encouraging. So I'm not sure if many more people are going to join us. It's now 11:50, and so we seem to have a nice contingent. So thank you very much. Warm welcome to anyone who's just joining in these last few minutes. I hope this is going to be a very helpful and interesting session for you. Perhaps I could start with this first screen then, as time's running on. Essentially, many of you will be aware through the CDI that we've been reviewing websites. Oh gosh, is it really 10, 15 years now, I think? And that's in Career Companion. And this site is freely available to you now and always, to any members of your family, and of course to anyone out there. It's an all-age site, Career Companion, if you didn't know that. And there's a student portal on the left, the graduate, the career change for adults, and the advisor portal. I have to say that we're moving a lot of the advisor information more and more because it's changing so quickly. We're moving it more into the Career Companion Extra service. So, but we're still maintaining a lot of resources in Career Companion. It actually has over 8,000 links in there, if you didn't know before. And it's a free service. But, you know, I'm really pleased that since January, we've had 50,000 page views there. So that suggests that quite a lot of people are finding helpful resources in there. So there's the link. You can always go to Career Companion and the reviews will continue. Thanks to Jan, she appreciates our reviews of websites. And all I'd say is at the end, I'll leave my email at the end, but if you've got sites that you would love to have us review for Career Matters, please just send the recommendation through. We're always independent and impartial, and that's the nature of our business. Well, without further ado, I think I'll move into Career Companion Extra a little bit more. You see a very different picture there. I've deliberately selected the icons of the tiles, and there's 45 of them, and in fact 2 more of it. There's one for Northern Ireland as well, and there's another tile there which covers, can't just see it there, PSHE, but just to emphasize that it's a very different service. The Career Companion Extra, it's something which is more bespoke to your school or college. So I'm just going to move just to set the session in perspective and what we're about, the virtual careers coming of age. I'd just like to drop down into, I'm trying to change page here. 15 page down, sorry. Are you seeing that, Ashley? Is the page?
It's not. No, I think you need to click on it again just to make it active.
Yeah. I've clicked on it. And page down. I don't know why it's frozen there. Is that better? Is that showing there? Thank you. Sorry about that. So what I'd like you to do, if you could, for this first time, please, just to add into the chat from your own experience. I'm very grateful to the Education Development Trust here. They've been doing a number of things: virtual employer encounters, virtual work experience, and virtual interviews. And many of you have got that experience. But can we just add for a moment in the chat whether we are currently, in the group that's actually watching this session now, currently involved, either never, not doing anything, occasionally involved in the virtual world with careers, regularly or all the time. But what I'd like you to do is just add a dash and put what sort of things you're doing. And it would just give us a flavour when we looked at the chat, see what's going on and what kind of activities that were going on. It's just what we would do normally at the beginning of a live session. We would have a discussion on this. So I'm going to stop for a minute and just let you drop some things into the chat. And please feel free. And particularly there's other there, so there may be other experiences that are not listed here that you would like to add. So thank you very much for partaking in that for a few moments. Thank you. Excellent. Virtually where it's offered to students, take up more CPD. Oh, this is really good. Thank you. Greater virtual webinars for young people, yes. National apprenticeships, schools. Lots of pupils. This is really encouraging to see a wide range of resources already different activities. One-to-one appointments. Just learning about facilitating. Well, thank you. This is actually very encouraging. It's just good to see so much activity going on. I think the guidance interviews is probably the majority of activity, if we're honest about it. So I'm very grateful for that, and it's pleasing to see that because in particularly lockdown, that there's so much personal contact still going on wherever possible. I know that can be very, very challenging, but I think we're all finding ways of trying to connect, aren't we, with our clients? And yeah, it is a testing time, but can I just thank you so much for all these comments, because at least we're able to see and share them all. There's going to be an opportunity to ask particular questions at the end back into the chat again, and I really hope I can support you. So I'm going to go into presentation mode in a moment, but I really thank you for all that you've mentioned so far, because it really does suggest that there is a lot going on, a lot of excellent activity. And what we're going to concentrate now is just looking at it from a point of view of presentation, and of events, if you like. So I'm having a little trouble with my screen again. We're there now. I think hopefully we can go into there, Ashley. I don't know why it's not letting me.
Yeah, I think you need to go back into PowerPoint.
Keep having to go back. That's it. Yeah. Okay. That's showing now.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, maybe now that we're into the presentation, I don't keep popping out, we'll be fine. So in this seminar, what we're going to cover is to introduce 4 very different virtual career events. We're going to explain the rationale behind each and what they were seeking to achieve. We want to highlight some lessons and experiences that were learned in the process of hosting the events. And also, I hope, be very encouraging and just to demonstrate how easy it can be to create and promote a virtual careers event. So the examples I'd like to show and talk to you about are very different. So the first one is a primary school. It's a local primary school here in Basingstoke, actually. I'm from Hampshire here. I'll tell you more about each one as we go along. The second one to the right, that's King's School. That's 11 to 16 school. And that was actually looking particularly at year 9 and option choices and preparing, we call it an employability day. So that's year 9. We'll look at a couple of other things that we're doing. And then there's St John's in Marlborough. And that school was doing an 11 to 18 session on careers. And they called it Career and HE Day. And they actually had a number of very interesting activities. And they were looking particularly at promoting apprenticeships. So we're trying to give a broad flavour of what's possible in the virtual environment. And our last example is St Dominic's in London, and theirs was particularly focused on higher education. Yes, they did certainly have access to higher apprenticeships and degrees, but it was aimed particularly at a year 12 model. So, and I just want to acknowledge a couple of schools that have really had a great impact on support. Well, they are schools. Hospital outreach that support children and young people who, as many of you know, have been in hospital for long lengths of time and illness. And we attended just a virtual event some weeks ago, and they were connecting all around the country to hospital schools and curation centres, supporting young people going through illness all around the country. And what was so wonderful, just to share the virtual environment that they had, the experience they had, was good practice. So there were some people very experienced in careers, others not, and they were just sharing so much high quality resourcing support. And we were able to demonstrate with them the libraries. Some of them have got these virtual libraries that they can use. I wanted to acknowledge them as a very special. We can often not include in the primary sector or even the hospital school sector very little about them, but they're very much part of our careers world. The other acknowledgement very quickly is Keris Evans and Sheffield, who's a member of the Careers Writers Association. I'm going to start with that, focusing on her work, because through Career Companion Extra, she's particularly developed in the last 4 or 5 months now a work experience, a virtual work experience resource library. I hope in your screen you can see these a little bit larger so you can view the kind of, that we're familiar with Barclay's Life Skills Developing Resources and Springboard as well, but there's Forage there. And there's others. And what is particularly good is her handout. Now, she said to me, if anyone wishes to have access to the handout, you can actually see this site, the Meadowhead School. You can visit the site and you can access Careers Library. You can actually get this file. So where you see that logo document there is a PDF. Or you can email me. She's quite happy for me to send that to you directly. And there's 3 pages of different organizations that offer virtual work experience. And some will be more appropriate to a local area than others. But I must commend and thank Keris for that, because if you like, that was the first real indication on our story that we really had something that was an environment that could really encourage people. So that's something, a very popular thing in their school in Sheffield. So I'm going to go launching straight in to give you a bit of background about the primary school. I make no apologies for this because I think it's such an important sector and they've been getting more and more involved with careers. And this is an example, it's local school, age 2, already in their curriculum, they have well-being and spirituality. And PSHE is a fundamental part of their program. Now, they can approach this in many, many different ways. And you can see there, I don't know if it's clearer on your screen, children able to link local, national, and global content to their learning. And so this particular headmaster is very pro-careers. And so for a number of years now, he's run a particular event. And it's been an absolute delight. Basically, he's used parents in the school to come along and talk about their careers. Well, when you start asking parents, it's amazing how keen they are, maybe particularly in this area. I hope in other areas of your experience. But so you can see the companies represented. So these were local companies, food bank as well there, number of initiatives, voluntary organisations, as well as professional organisations. And these parents managed to get someone to come along for 2 days, and they ran the event. I went to the first one a couple of years ago, a guest advisor being local and the governor knowing me. And it was a joy to see these children just coming, enthusing with their questions. And I must admit, it was exhausting. It really was great fun. And if there's anything to inspire young people at a young age, I was very, very delighted about this. So I happened to chat to the head afterwards and say, well, look, I'm very happy. We've got a service. I can just put something together for you. And so this last year, just before lockdown, actually in February last year, we created this website for them for a couple of days. And we were able to populate it with some really super resources and also promote their companies that were involved. So it's very much a collaborative effort, really, to do that. I just want to encourage you because PHSE, as I say, is part of their curriculum. And so I've just done a screen capture here. There's lots of resources from the PSHE Association. And in this library, the example I just showed you there is actually a staff version, because every Career Companion library has a staff and a student parent version. So that's staff library. they can access the more heavyweight material, if you like, and how they're going to use that in the classroom. And then we've added and populated resources. And finally, we created a site for young people as well and their parents. And the reaction was amazing. We had hundreds and hundreds of children coming in with their parents talking about careers. We deliberately picked on a few themes that would appeal to them, to games and fun, which I'll talk about a bit later, and resources that they were becoming familiar with, and special needs being very important, apprenticeships getting wider publicity. So that's I'm just looking at the clock and I'm just keeping an eye on time, but that's essentially the primary sector. And you can always come back to me more because the school is very delighted to share what they've been doing. All the places we work with, I have personal contact. So very delighted to share and promote. So that's something you'd like to join in. Our next example, so we're moving now to that second one I mentioned, is the 11 to 16 school. That's King's School of Winchester and their employability event. And I thought this was really interesting because what they decided to do, the careers lead there, Joe Turner. Another one very happy to talk and share and for you to visit their site because a lot of the schools have the site as open access. So King's School Winchester, you could find it, or I could get you there. Happy for you to go into their careers and see what they've been doing. But what I really like is what they did with Year 9. They enthused all their tutors, the heads of curriculum, to promote their particular subject in careers. And again, this was over a 2-week period, actually, that they were different stages doing this. So every subject in the curriculum had a turn at promoting careers. It wasn't the careers lead having to do it all. What the careers lead, Jo, did was wonderful. She gave them a set of posters, one for each subject. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because they're out there, but I can request permission if anyone can help me plan it posters, really, really high visual. They use those posters, huge and magnificent effect from Scotland there. And it really was wonderful. Great enthusiasm from the tutors as well, the teachers, because they ordinarily wouldn't talk a lot about careers in this subject. But that's something King's did, and to a great effect. And I just emphasize I've got circles around various things. BBC Bite Size, the career videos in there, particularly popular. The kids absolutely love those. And if you haven't gone to BBC Bite Size Careers yet, it's a must to see. And also it's topical and it's, you would expect with the BBC, anything that comes on there is very appropriate for all kinds of interests. Now, you may be surprised because obviously some of these schools have licenses and having expensive licenses for psychometrics, this can be challenging. And so the Buzz, obviously no Buzz personality quiz, and 16 personalities, if you haven't used that, it can be used in a family atmosphere. I know this has been very successful. A number of families, all different age groups have done it. And what basically we were saying here is that here are some careers that your subjects are really, really interested in. They can really interest you and inspire you towards careers. If you still don't know what you want to do have a look at some of these quizzes and do sort of tease out some of your ideas. And we've also got a link there, as you can see, careers and subjects. So Gatsby or there, linking the curriculum with the subject. And there's masses of great materials out there. And I guess it's the advantage of us always constantly looking at resources. So we've already got through 2 examples and we've got 20 minutes left. I hope you're still with me. And we're seeing now, the emphasis on the quizzes and the personality kinds of things. I wanted to put this slide up for everyone because I don't know about you, but this is one of the things I've been really, really encouraged about. There's so many careers now where you can actually use a kind of interactive tool where you can explore that career. So Discover Creative Careers, many of you will be familiar with. It's got an I enjoy in the top left. So you can pick up 3 to 5 areas, and it will then trawl in the relevant areas that you can explore. Very, very broad in creative range of offers. Map Your Careers has been around for a number of years, but we keep improving it. Meet Your Future Quiz for engineering, the Tech Future Quiz for IT, the Career Game Chemistry Quiz. Now that's a fairly new one, and what a delight to see that as well. So someone who's got a very, very strong interest in chemistry, what am I going to do with it? So we put this in games and fun because I don't know about you, but careers, I'm not saying it's boring. I think it's very exciting. We've been doing it for 38 years now, but games and fun. It's just young people. I think it's a nice way of exploring careers in different ways. So that's. I just wanted to emphasise that coming out. We use that certainly in King's, and this was the. What I just wanted to say is, although it was an employability event, they also had an annual, year-long presence in the virtual careers. So all of the materials and learning about post 16, post 18, what careers about local and regional employers. Many of them they actually invited to previous career events. So this year was the first time they couldn't do that in COVID. So they invited many employers to come along to these events to be able to add to the actual events and so the local employers are represented. And that's a key, isn't it? I think when we're running any kind of career event. So moving on to St John's. So this was the 11 to 18 example I mentioned. I'm starting to look more at the virtual careers icon here, if you've noticed subtly there. So this is where you can adapt whatever event you want. And the subcategory, this is where the subcategories, those are the blue boxes there with a white bold typeface. Post 16, post 18, virtual open data, and subject defense in this case. Those are all, you can tailor those to your need with our help. And also in this case, they wanted a very high rate of importance attached to apprenticeship. So what's going on, particularly in the area of Wiltshire and Gloucestershire. So there was a really strong interest in that. And we took that opportunity to put local colleges in. The wonderful thing about our local FE sector is that apprenticeships abound. And so we were able to advertise and promote those, quick links straight to those apprenticeship pages very quickly. And I guess that's the beauty of something like this, is it's open the information very much to what the school is actually wanting to say to its young people. We're there to advise and help, and we do the libraries. We will present and prepare this all according to your needs. So it was nice to see that kind of flavour from John's, and a very good and strong promotion towards the apprenticeship as well as the HE. In this particular example, they also had on the HE side some videos, and I'm sort of nervous a bit with the time running and a bit more to do to run this now. But can I encourage you? St John's Library is available again. But do you know what was so exciting about this? Those two I've circled: University of Winchester, University of Bath. They did presentations because of COVID and restrictions. They did presentations directly to students at St John's. So both of them come over talking to St John's students. And I know not universities won't all be able to do this en masse, but if you've got very good relationships already in the university sector and college sector, your local colleges as well, then what a great opportunity to use a virtual environment to get these personal messages, because often these members of staff are very happy to share and promote. Well, it's their job and they love it. And it's wonderful when it's personal like that. I realise I'm rabbiting on very fast here, but I want to spend a bit more time on this particular example. This is St Dominic's Sixth Form College, and they're in Harrow in London, and they have a higher education and careers day. And in the past, it's been a massive event. They've had all the universities come, and of course, many delegates arriving and presenting their wares, and they were really concerned about their year 12. What were we going to do this year? What was going to be possible? And they did some very innovative things. So you'd be pleased to know it's not so much about us. There's a bit here about Career Companion being behind the scene and preparing their virtual presence. But it was a day event, sorry. So the morning was all about talks and presentations, which we're going to come on to in a moment. And then the afternoon was very much about, well, where do we go from here and what resources can help us in exploring some of our ideas. So this was what they had. I mentioned the 45 tiles earlier, but they wanted specifically just these tiles for the year 12 and 13. So there's a wide range of decisions there, and each one they can access a wide range of information to. Hopefully now a bit more. What I really like about St Dominic's, though, is that they're already very keen on destinations. And we've got a destinations icon, and they utilize, you can see the documents top left, alumni and student destinations 2020. And we've added the national ones in, what graduates do in the graduate market and so on. But you can see there, some of you will be very familiar in sixth form work with the UCAS destination map. And isn't it great to just bring that in front of kids directly and easily? So in this whole event, we were encouraging the students to look at destinations, see where previous students had gone. And of course, you can see down the left there, I don't know how clear it is to you, Russell Group, by subject destinations of their students, student destinations by university, PDF, and student destinations alternatives. And again, it's available for you to look at. You don't need to come to leave that. I've got everyone's permission to help and share, and that's the beauty of this. But you can go direct to look at St. Dominic and Harrow, and you will find it eventually. It's all there. I'm very, very encouraged that the destinations is an important part of their career event and planning. And just a lovely thing here that very, very encouraged about is that they wanted to promote, particularly using that UCAS area as well, that their top 30 universities that people have applied for. I know that's a bit discriminatory, but well, this is where most of our students have gone on applied for them. It's a good way of starting an introduction to higher education. Have a look at these universities. The great thing is that there's Anna Scampari and Karen, who were wonderful in their way in supporting Karen Padley, who she's involved with arranging the normal days that happen every year, but this is the first time as a virtual conference. So she contacted all the universities and their sort of listings, and she had personal information back. We put those as PDFs so they distinguish between websites, access, and so on. You can also see this higher education university college search, which I'm very encouraged to tell you is just part of Career Companion. So we added it into this page. Every university has all of these deep links which we maintain. And so you can go to site, investigate accommodation, degree apprenticeships. We've updated all the latest there. Learning support. You can see down the right-hand side the YouTubes, and that's where a lot of the students want film clips and everything. So you'll see in a moment we actually drew an awful lot of those YouTubes out of there and put them into the site for Dominic. So I hope that's an encouraging thing. I wanted you to see the feedback. So this is the result of the HE Day at St. Dominic's. So first time that they've had to do a virtual event. Isla, can I let you read this for a minute and have a break from my voice? So I think if it's all right, we'll move on a little bit. But I do want to show you this the page where you had 650 year students, that's 650 year 12 students. These are the talks they were timetabled into. So these were they've always had a careers fair day. It's always been very important to the school. And these are what they invited to run sessions. So they had the same people involved, but doing a Teams meeting. And the students could choose what they wanted from the list there. And then they went and had presentations in the morning from a few. And I think this is wonderfully innovative. And the use of Microsoft Teams, there was such an innovative way of doing it. So obviously IT is important. We'll come on to some of the principles we need to be careful of and prepare for, but it just shows you what's possible. So it's like the relationships that have already been established, building upon that, but using it in a virtual environment. And we just felt so privileged to be able to support them. So this brings me on really to what is probably more important than anything else. I sort of started this rather cheaply about being, creating a website from scratch. Well, that's exactly what we do, really, in a way. But there's no point in doing anything unless we've got various things in place. So the leadership and the IT network endorsement and support from the school is absolutely crucial if you're going to do anything like anything virtually. We need to ask questions like what other technical needs might there be, pre-recorded events and so on. I think some of those Teams events, I think they were pre-recorded. I seem to remember before that. But that's all possible. It means that at least then you could line up, it's a little bit like today. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, but technically now much more easier to actually do. And it's really to celebrate, I think, it's crucial to have this background. So many people work very hard, and it's very, very challenging, and it's a team effort, I think. We can't all do what everyone else is doing, but I think we can all play a very, very valuable part. So if I was to start from scratch, here we go to the sort of overarching theme of the day. I would want to choose themes and topics. What's my event going to be all about? What are we trying to say? What are we trying to do? I've given 4 examples there. The primary one, and looking at 11, 16, 11, 18, and looking to 80 as well. Whether it's a whole school event or year groups. And the good thing is you can do one and a number. It doesn't have to be all at once. You can spread these out through the year. I think that's King's. Their philosophy was to do a year 9 event, and it's going to be a year 10, and they're going to do other events throughout the year. Then it's encouraging, get active. What have I got down there? So now we can get creative. I realise time is not on our side, but I'm going to hopefully encourage still and whiz through these last few. So in a sense, the beauty of Curriculum and Extra is you can pick a theme. You can pick 1 or 2 of these tiles, virtual careers, 1, or you can pick variety, and whatever theme and you would like, then we can actually promote. Appreciate that some of these, we've got a year 14 for Northern Ireland. We need to develop it. We get interest in Scotland. We certainly could create more icons. That's something I can have designed icons coming up within 3 to 5 days. So we can create resources around the new themes. As long as they're generic, as long as they're going to be used by others. Doing it in isolation just is a huge challenge. A lot of these themes, by the way, I must encourage you, 50% of them, because it's been going on for 10 years now, 50% of them at least have come out of ideas from schools. This is what schools and colleges want. And you can see some, we mustn't forget the special needs, such an important part of Career Companion Extra there. And we've got various resources in there. So, just to mention, yeah, we're creating a library. What I tell you, this is the bit I absolutely love the most, is, okay, you may come and say, well, we want to do this event and we want this theme and so on. So, yeah, I've got the resources all behind the national stuff to do for you, but it only comes alive when I start doing this. So give an example of Ealing here. They still retain the Connections old name. Interesting, isn't it? But it's great because they very, very strongly involved with young people in that borough. They've got the Young Ealing site as well, and there's a real partnership between the two. And what is so good is that you've noticed that the Curriculum Extra is all different library versions. The basic similarity, but this is where we personalize it. So Connections Ealing, you've got a news ticker at the top. So your event, you can promote things. There's a news ticker running along. You've got the second and probably the most important part, the notice board. So you can have 10 to 15 slides running. I remember Dominic's running old photographs from last year about their virtual their conference. So they had conference pictures coming in, slides of exhibitors and so on. You can really bring this whole careers theme alive, whatever your theme is going to be in that monitor. You've got great flexibility to do that. 3 is the icons to personalize it to your organization, to your school, to where you're working. Or the social media, if you wanted to use that, to add those in there. 5 and 6 are new things that happened recently, particularly 6 or 5, the quick links menu, so you can build quick links around your resources and what you're doing for the day. It's a drop-down menu, another feature you don't have to use. And calendar. And I know that some of the schools and colleges use the calendar feature quite a lot, and that's where you can actually link to events and ongoing events as they happen. So realizing time, 5 minutes. Emphasizing notice board. Here's an example from a school in Hampshire who actually runs, I think, so many notices all the time, constantly changing their notice board. It keeps careers alive. And then another feature that we add in there is that national ones that we have in Career Companion come into this as well. They default into this at the end of local slides. I realise that we've got. I did mention that we can put on any event, and this is true. There can be a staff event on Gatsby. And I just want to emphasize here that one of the benefits of having Career Companion Extra is that you get these 21 PDFs running into 284 pages of massively curated, beautifully curated resources by nice fellow Anthony Barnes, and many of you will know Anthony. And it is a thrill to have such a great partnership with him in putting these together. That comes with your library, but they can now be purchased separately if you want. So that could be a theme. Any theme you like, we can certainly get involved with. If you'd like to jot any questions in the chat, this is probably a good time to do it. I'm sorry about the time, but if there's any urgent questions, I am going to include details on costs after my little email message here, but you can email me here. There's my email, hillary@careercompanion.co.uk, and I'll be very happy to come back and explore anything further with you. But if I just go back to the questions in the chat, if anyone actually wants to, is anything typing that we might be able to deal with in these last couple of minutes. Apologies, it's been such a whiz through. But you know, it's taken, as I say, 10 years to develop this resource. And would you believe this is the first time in 10 years that I've ever talked about it at any length to the CDI. I've always gone as an independent, impartial quiz advisor, which I am, talking about whatever theme that we've agreed with the CDI and just mentioned us in passing. So, just to let you know, it's almost like we have come of age as well as the virtual careers have come of age. We have something to offer, I hope, and support you. In terms of costings, I can just put that down. So the libraries, obviously we discount particularly for hospital, schools, special needs and so on. There are, if you're having more schools, there are obviously discounts available. I hate talking about money, as all careers advisors do. It's not in my nature. The virtual event thing, though, it can be a one-off kind of event. It takes quite a lot of work, as you can imagine, to put something together. But we can usually do this in, I put 3 months there. That's disgraceful. We can put a library together in 3 weeks. Yeah, comfortably. 3 months, if it's some massive thing that you're doing, starting from scratch, you want to reach several hundred schools, that's fine. But no, we can do in 3 weeks. I thought, well, that's a typo. A bad typo, isn't it? But yeah, those are the prices. But I'm very grateful for your time in listening through. And any questions come up? Can I just see if there's anything coming down? Falling down. No. Does anyone like to add any questions? Maybe need to refresh my screen. I don't know. It's going to. Hopefully they will start appearing there. Perhaps you'll want to separately and contact me separately, which you're very welcome. What do you think, Ashley? Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's okay on our side. I can't see any questions in the chat. If anybody does have any questions to come to you later, you can always email them across and we can get them passed on.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, if there's nothing coming up specifically, then thank you so much. It's also clear. Really? Well, that's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. Thank you. All the very best to you, and thank you so much for your attention and time. And I wish you all the very best for the rest of the conference. It's a magnificent event, isn't it? Yes, the virtual age really, really has come alive. Thank you so much. Very best wishes. I'll hang around for a few minutes just in case.